Hello, y'all. Happy New Year's Eve. Let's get into it. A lot of things going on this year, but let's see what's going on for next. I'm going to wait for some of y'all to hop on here. What a time. Hey, Classy. Happy New Year to you too, Megan. Hey. How is everybody? Hey, Mommy. Hey, Tiara. Happy New Year to you too. I feel like it's a long time since I've seen you. Hey, say no. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too, Claire. So, y'all, there's a lot to talk about. So I know that most of y'all probably caught up on my last couple of videos. Um, hey, thank you. Oh, you're getting over the flu? I'm so sorry. Hi, Andrea. Hey, Sayfire. Gio, relax. Happy New Year to you too. Gio, relax.
Happy New Year to
Not new you. Y'all, he said Happy New You to you guys. Okay.
New Year.
No, but that Tiara, that's such a
Happy
legitimate question.
Christmas.
No, it's Happy New Year, baby.
But it's not that thing right now.
Yes, tonight.
But I wanted to say Christmas because
Okay.
it was Christmas all year. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.
Gio, they heard you. You don't have to keep saying it. They heard you. So here's the thing. The way she licks her lips, I really have to tell you, like, when I did that video, I licked my lips maybe 3 times. I woke up that next morning, my lips were actually hurting, and it was, like, red around it. And y'all didn't see it as much because I had put lip oils on it to, like, soothe the pain. Because all that salt, hold on, I have to hide that person. All that salt from your saliva, it like literally chaps your lips. Like that hurt. Like legitimately hurt. So I don't know how she was able to do it. Thank you. I love RuPaul. I appreciate that. Do you see my Adam's apple? Um, but I think the interesting part about that is that of course she would never answer that. And I think that if she was smart enough to answer that,
I love you so much.
I love you so much too.
Do you like my elf hat?
Yes. If she was ever to actually answer that, if she was ever to answer that, I think she'd make a lot of money. I think she could actually do like a brand partnership with Aquaphor or something that actually works. I'm just saying. I think that's her best bet. But anyway, Gio, yeah, I'm gonna have to put you out if you're gonna keep making all that noise and make noise with your iPad. You gotta pick which one.
I don't want your towel.
Okay. Um, Happy New You better. That's funny. Um, but let's see. How many people think that what happened to Bree, someone called the cops on her? I've seen other people say they don't think it was just the tags. But how many people really truly think it was a setup? I really would love to know how many people think it's a setup. And I only, the biggest reason why I feel like it was a setup is because Ivory Rose Grows kept pushing that she was set up. She was set up, right? Like remember, like when everything went down with her, that was the whole thing was she was set up. Also, I saw somebody in the comment section that says I've always have beef with Boo Boo. Let me tell you something. I've never, but they don't know that I know, and I don't know if I've said this to you guys. Maybe I probably haven't.
Mommy, I love you so
I
much.
love you too.
I miss Mommy.
I know she comes home on Saturday, but
Is
one
it
thing I want
Saturday?
everyone no every one thing I want people to keep in mind.
Is it Sunday?
No, Gio, you'll know when it's here. Um, one thing I want you guys to remember is that remember when Ivory Rose Grows Wild first came on scene. I was one of the few creators that she first started talking about. But she was speaking about me in a very passive aggressive name, and she didn't have the balls enough to mention my name. I didn't know her from a can of paint. Why was she speaking about me? I was the very first person that she kept speaking on. Okay? She came out of nowhere,
What's
and then she wanted
that
creators to
evil
speak on
grow?
her. Woo Woo was a setup from the beginning. Like, that was a setup from the very beginning. They had always been in cahoots. Okay? Now, when that vigilant happened, she went to dinner with everybody, right? Playing everyone. And then turn around, she got pulled over with rugs, allegedly,
Not eating red food
and she said it was
again.
a setup.
Mom, can we eat red food?
Jill, you was so silent a little while ago. As soon as I get on live, you just won't stop.
Can we eat blue food?
No, not right now.
Can we? No, I'm talking about can we eat it later?
Um, you know what books would see? I think so. In fact, Ivory and I have had this conversation, and I think that was the whole purpose from the beginning. And just the fact that she kept saying it was a setup, she got pulled over, and remember, she got pulled over with very similar circumstances. Bree was also in Cutoff. Bree doesn't live near Cutoff. Why was she there? Well, yeah, Bree's behavior was,
What did
first of
I
all, she sat in the
do?
car, did a video, made crying noises with no tears. Sounds about Gypsy, right? The thing that's crazy to me is the behavior, switching plates, no insurance. That's drug addict habits. And you gonna say that the purse that it was found in wasn't yours? Like, you can't think we're all that dumb. That's another thing for the baby's birthday party. So now you got a whole method at your baby's birthday party, and you wonder why folks be calling CPS on you. Yeah, and you wonder why people be calling CPS on you. Like, make that make sense.
Chicken.
What? Bree. Bree was arrested for driving on suspended. No. Driving with no insurance. She switched her tags, and with math on her. Ooh, my hip hurts.
Your hip hole.
Yeah. So she was driving with that, but she also was a fugitive at one point. The only reason you could be a fugitive is if you had warrants. So I think she has priors. If we're gonna be real, I'm pretty sure Bree has priors. We might not be able to see it because Louisiana's system is very weird about finding stuff. I don't know if y'all have noticed that. So we may not be able to like visibly see it. But yeah. First of all, I think that Gypsy was probably in on it and maybe thought that that would be a easy way to kind of like ease Bree out the way because if she's on probation, she likely can't speak to felons. But then I heard in Louisiana there's like ways around that, like they'll approve certain people. But I don't know if you're on probation and you're able to speak to a convicted murderer. I feel like that would be a little. And I also, let's talk about this. I do think we really do need to talk about two things. I'm going to bring this up very briefly. I saw somebody in my comments, and if you're in here, it's fine. Um, Someone said yesterday that they don't run to my page anymore because I have like clips of different videos in my video. And so they no longer run to my page. And then she said this was constructive criticism. I want to give you this, blah, blah, blah. What people don't understand, for someone to think that I'm not a people pleaser. My page, I make my page the way I want to make it and the way that works for me. And if it doesn't work for you, that is okay. Not everything is for everybody. But I'm definitely not going to change the way I do things because you say you don't run to my page anymore. Like, the fact that you felt entitled to say that and entitled for me to change something because you felt that way is really kind of wild. Like, I don't think you realize how out of touch that is. I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, Geo is sitting right here.
Wait, you said I'm sitting right here?
Yes, Geo.
But
Secondly,
everyone is going to see me bald.
no, they can't. You're not even bald, Geo. Can you stop saying you're bald? You have hair on your head.
Someone is going to see me bald.
I appreciate you guys. And to be honest with you, with the way I do my content now, my engagement's higher in terms of like the amount of people watching the videos all the way through when I look at my analytics, which is the part that was funny to me. But I wasn't going to go all the way there with her. I just said, look. But also, do y'all think I'm interested to see and I'm saying this, I want you guys to really see the full scope of what I'm saying before you judge this. Because I put this in a video the other day and I saw like some mixed comments. And I thought the comments were kind of interesting. But how many of y'all watched Into the Weeds, the video where Nicholas, kind of had to let Gypsy know he was upset? And spoke on like trying to reassure her and stuff like that. How many people saw that? Okay. Based on that, when you saw how he was and how she was, I feel like it came across way more manipulative than I had even anticipated. Am I the only one that feels like that? Like, I did not anticipate. Like, I guess I know she's a manipulator. That's never been a question to me. Thank you. But watching him constantly try to reassure her and watching him try to prove, and the way, yes, Gypsy being manipulative, not Nick. No. Um I think it was worse than I fathomed. Am I the only one that felt that way? Like, and maybe it's because I actually saw it versus just knowing she's a manipulator. But like seeing the videos, seeing their interactions, like it gave me a whole nother viewpoint and perspective on it, visually seeing it. Right? Like I said, I always knew she was a manipulator. I always knew that, she wants to control the narrative. In fact, I would venture to say that she's just a broke version of Diddy. They have the same type of personality, trying to control the narrative, in of sorts, right? But I feel like watching those videos really, it was an eye-opening moment for me that I did not anticipate to have, because she played a lot of mental games with him. Yes. Yes. And it's scary to see the level of how manipulative she was. Hey, Blessed. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Um and I feel like it makes me feel even worse about the situation. Like, I feel, because there was even a video where he looked tired and drained, like drained of constantly reaffirming her to her, like drained of, I don't know, like did anyone feel that way? He looked exhausted. He looked like he wasn't even really getting like sleep, because she wanted to like deplete him. I don't know. It was very odd. Yes, yes, emotionally exhausted. It it was way worse than I had ever anticipated, actually seeing it in on video. Like, it was, also, I actually watched that with Ivory Rose Nose. Ivory Rose Nose. Yes. And I said to her, like, I feel so heavy after watching this. I was like, I did not realize it was this bad. Like, I knew it was bad. I knew she was manipulative. I knew that, she coerced him and sorry y'all. But I guess I didn't think in my mind that it would have looked this
Mommy, do
bad.
you have a mommy?
Yes, grandma's my mommy.
And who is my mom?
I don't know.
Who is
I look like
yours?
your mom or something? Oh. I didn't, am I the only person that it was kind of eye opening? Yo, my nose is itching. I don't have a booger in it. Maybe this one. I don't know.
You don't have a burger in it.
Where's a napkin? Get me a napkin. Hold on.
Mom, do you say I have to give you a
No.
napkin? Do you say you have to get a napkin?
Um, it just. Oh, what is that though? I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. It just. I don't know. It's.
Will I
I
go
feel crazy for even
to
saying it seemed worse,
Will
but it was different visually seeing him look worn down, sound worn down, look exhausted. Like, she drains people mentally and emotionally, and I think we're all aware of that. But I don't think we anticipated it. I personally did not anticipate it being as bad as what those videos displayed. And I think it's very interesting
you?
because Gypsy and Bree had said if we see those videos, our perception of it would change. Well, she's absolutely right. It changed, as in it was worse to me. Yeah, and I feel like she kind of used those videos to manipulate him in a way, but also she used the videos to try to make it look like he was the one in power when you could clearly tell that was not the situation. Like, the fact that Gypsy thought she could outsmart, because you could literally see that she's the one kind of like coaching him, but she's acting like she's under his control. It was very odd. Very bad. I mean, very bad acting. Very bad acting. But I just think the whole thing is just very. I don't know. It was very interesting to watch. It was very sad to me to see him that drained.
So,
Um, and I could only imagine, like, how someone could feel in that situation after all that. Hey, Vintage. I don't know. It was just she was way more. I don't think she was way more manipulative than I thought, but it was just the visual of seeing it and seeing the interactions just seemed so much worse to me. But with that being said, it and I want you guys to take this with a grain of salt, but it does make me wonder to myself how exhausted is Ken. Thank you. I appreciate that.
delicious. Mom,
Does that make sense?
Mom, are you done talking? I need to uh see myself.
You don't need to see yourself. You have your iPad to see yourself in it.
Why it doesn't have my name on my face? My face name.
Yeah, those videos were eye opening.
Mom, have you?
I think Gypsy has something on Ken.
Who is your sister,
And
Mom?
I wish I could tell you more, but I can't because it would give away who gives me information. Um, but she definitely has something on Ken. And first of all, look, there's nothing wrong with aging, okay?
Mommy, I love you so
I
much.
love you so much too, Papas.
Do
But
you, do you have a sister?
no, you know that.
What do you have? Only a mom?
What about Uncle Richard, Uncle AJ, Uncle Kevin?
Uncle Kevin? Is him your dad or my dad?
That's my brother.
Uncle
That's why
Kevin?
he's your uncle.
Uncle Kevin is my brother?
My brother.
Who is my dad?
Gio, you're confusing me at this point, okay?
Who is my dad?
Um, I do believe that Gypsy has something on Ken, and it's something probably not very flattering. But let's be honest, unless it was pedophilia, he's better off just still like not worrying about it. You know what? Gio wants his own channel. Cause he says stuff like, follow, subscribe. He's so silly.
Because you have to subscribe.
Not
No.
because you have to subscribe.
Because we are YouTube.
Right, and look at what she did to Ryan.
And then our
But it kind of
YouTube
makes you
goes
wonder, why does
to
Ryan still
subscribe
simp for her?
to our channel.
Like, I feel like there's something we're missing with that part right there. And how does everyone feel about the birthday party? Because I can't imagine why Gypsy would be the main character at her child's birthday party. Why wouldn't you have your daughter dress up as Miss Rachel? Why wouldn't she be the main character? Like, I don't know. That whole thing was weird. Now I know that that was the day she got out of prison, but that was crazy. Listen, she didn't have nothing first with Ryan than anybody else. Because even when she said Ken was her first, let's admit it. Gypsy, first of all, y'all didn't see this, but I saw this on TikTok last night, and baby, if I was up enough, I would have posted this on my YouTube last night. Oh, I messed up my lip liner. But I would have posted this on YouTube last night. Baby, this girl said, she said, my girl Gypsy Rose was freaked out. She was locked up in that house, but she sure was connected to that Wi Fi. And then somebody else said, I just want to know what type of storage Gypsy Rose has. Because how was she able to store that much on her laptop at that time, which is true because those videos were so long. How was she sending those long videos? Because back in 2012 it wasn't that easy to be sending long ass videos to anybody. Y'all, don't even get me started on that toothbrush. Don't even get me. First of all, 12 minutes of buzzing that thing up there. I know her thing must have been raw to death, okay? I saw that Sheila, that somebody said that the cookies were more like Dee Dee's outfit.
Mom,
And I
have
do
you
believe there's
have
a
a
correlation with
broccoli?
that.
Have you have a broccoli queen donut?
No,
Is it yucky?
there's no such thing.
Well, I have this.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, but I don't know, y'all. I don't know. The only reason why I didn't make a video about that, especially for TikTok, I feel like I have to be very strategic with what I bring up because otherwise, if people don't really truly understand the whole situation, they'll see it as me going back to a picture to nitpick versus them actually seeing what I'm trying to show them. Does that make sense? Like, because a lot of people are just now really being aware. Now, look, yes, there is double jeopardy, but remember, she took a plea deal. Now, the likelihood of them doing anything is, I don't think they'll do anything, okay? But she has a plea deal. She perjured herself in that plea deal. So, if they really wanted to, they could overturn it. Um, but they're not going to. And they're not going to do it for a couple of different reasons. One of the main reasons they're not going to do it is that obviously, if that happened, it would show that the prosecution and the DA did things that shouldn't have been done. And if they were to do that, they would have to open up a lot of other cases, which they do not want to do. It wouldn't just be Gypsy Rose. That would leave
I would
room
like
to overturn a lot of other, or to have other cases looked back into. They do not want that. Yes, Sarah Grace Patrick case, I am still following. She goes to court on the 5th. I think I want to live stream her court. Um, I got some stuff in the works for that too. I can't. There's a lot of things coming up this year that I can't really speak on yet. But yeah, I'm definitely covering that case. Um, I will still say I think she's innocent. I don't think she did it. I don't, because the main thing that everyone says is that if she was in the house, she would have heard it. But if they're gonna say if she was in the house, she would have heard it, can't we still use those same sentiments when it comes to her little sister? So who's to say it wasn't the little sister then? I don't think she did it. And there's no, I saw the discovery. I've actually seen the discovery. Um, and there's no actual evidence in there. Also, what I don't like about this case is about the way the media portrays it. Nobody speaks about the fact that the mom and the stepdad were drug addicts. Nobody speaks about the fact that they have sat in prison for it. They were robbed a week or two before at gunpoint. There was a crowbar, like the way the door, it was, the lock was messed with to where they were saying it looked like there was a crowbar. That's not someone inside the house. And they also said the door was ajar. Like there's too many. I the problem that I have with this is they're not, Geo, relax. They're not giving much context. See, I okay, so let's, to be fair, okay, if we're going to talk about her behavior, but that's no actual evidence, right? Like, because think about it this way, if you were 17 years old and you lost your mom, what would be normal behavior at 17 years old, not at your age now? What would I, if I lost my mom right now, I would be unhinged. No, I would be probably yelling and screaming. Like I I my I think that a lot of us look at it like, oh, that behavior is odd because we're looking at it from our age, from our perspective, but not from a 17. Does that make sense? And I think that we're going to really do that anyway, even with talking to our kids, because I've done it where I think to myself, oh, damn, you're talking to an 11-year-old. Why are you talking to her like she's 20? Like, like, because I almost forget like her age just because it's my perception. Her perception at 11 is not going to be the same. Um, and I think that that's part of it with the Sarah Grace Patrick case is like people feel like her behavior seems guilty, but if you lost a parent at 17, what would the behavior really be? And that's the question to really sit and think about. I just don't
Mom, do you want to turn 21?
know. What I will say is who I think did it. I think Kimberly,
my candy.
the stepdad's sister,
Mommy,
husband, or the sister or the niece had something to do with it. If they didn't directly did it, they know who did. Gio, can you relax? Yeah, but you don't need to right now. Relax. Can you stop yelling at me? I think that the sister, the sister's husband, or the niece either had hands in it or know who did it. No. Because when I first started posting, first of all, there's so much back information that, like, I need to probably do a whole video, standalone video about this. When I first started talking about the case and saying that I don't think that she's guilty, Kimberly and her friend Kelly with the IE was coming on there clapping back. Oh, thank you, Megan. Thank you. That is the best comment of this year. That is so funny. Yes, my current shirt is absolutely paid. Okay, Papas. Thank you so much. But I think that there's there's too much going on that side. I also had a video that Kimberly, which her daughter, which is Krista, did on TikTok. I sent it over to Indigo and asked her to break down her body language because she looked guilty to me of something. I just didn't know what involvement she had. Indigo broke that down and was like, "Yeah, that girl, she looks uneasy. She's like, you could tell she's fidgety. Her eyes are shifting. I'm telling you, they have whoever did it. They know who did it, or they had their hands in who did it. They set her up. They set that girl up. And here's my fear, though. Here's my fear. I know Georgia's system is corrupt. I firsthand have seen it with my own two eyes. My concern is Kimberly's husband is a police officer in a neighboring county. That's my concern. And she has a public defender, not a paid attorney. I did say something to, I think it's the dad's girlfriend, that I think she needed a paid attorney. And I think that because they know she's innocent, they think that it'll be okay. But yes, he is a cop in Douglas County, which is the county next door to Carrollton County. But because I know how Georgia's system, I mean, I went to law school in Georgia. I lived in Georgia I graduated from undergrad in Georgia. My brother still lives there. I've had a lot of experience in Georgia. And Georgia's, I know there's a lot of corrupt places, but Georgia is very corrupt in the legal system. I mean, there's even a quote: you go to Atlanta on vacation, you leave on probation. Like, that's the running joke. Okay. And my concern is her having a public defender, even if she's innocent. If the public defender is not fighting for her the way they need to, that she still may get a guilty verdict. Because, and this is also something, Z, that I want you to think of. If she was so guilty, why is the media trying to coerce the public ahead of time that she's guilty with no evidence? Sit with that. Sit with that. Why would you be trying to coerce the public via the media that she's guilty if you had evidence to prove that she is guilty? Because everything that they're saying is left up to perception. Yeah, mountains of evidence. I, another thing that's part of why my thoughts is that they said they had mountains of evidence. Um, oh, I used to live in McDonough, and I lived in Buckhead at one point too. But um, here's the thing: they say they have mountains of evidence, but they were dry begging on the news that if anyone had any text messages or emails or correspondence with her, could they submit it to them, because maybe the way they interpreted something, it has a different meaning. If you have mountains of evidence, why would you be asking, oh, if you have text, so they could twist text messages?
Mom, your nails look so pretty.
Thank you, baby.
What color is this one? What color?
You see what I'm saying? I lived off of exit 224 for the longest. Like, why would they be dry begging for text messages or correspondence? Like, that seemed very. Normally, if you have mountains of evidence, you're not going to get on the internet or get on the news and say, well, if you guys have any information, let us know. The fact that they are so hell bent on coercing the public that she is guilty before the trial is enough for me to pause and question it. And then they say, okay, well, if she didn't do it, she would have heard it. Okay, but you said the 4 or 5-year-old sister was in the house too, right? She didn't hear it either. So did she do it? Because if you're going to say one did it because she didn't hear it, you're going to have to say that about the other one. I don't care what age she is. If you're going to say one did it because she didn't hear it, you're going to have to say that the other one is an option too. Because what would stop the little one from being the option? Her age? Right? We've seen 5-year-olds pick up pew-pews and still do stuff. So I can't talk about that with you right now, Z, but just hold on. There's something that's going to come out with this, and y'all will see. I can't, it's, it's, stuff is, have, I can't even speak about it because I don't want to get myself into any trouble legally. Um, but we have to watch this trial. But I have a strong, strong feeling she's innocent. Um, and I want to kind of like give you guys another perspective too. Like, let's take into play Lake and Snelling. As soon as her incident happened, she was arrested. A lot of people from her personal life or school or whatever came to social media and said that she was really bad. Like, they had to switch schools because she bullied them. She was really a mean girl. Like, a lot of people had a lot to say about Lake and Snelling, right? It was the contrary for Sarah. Everyone that spoke out was like, she's such a sweet girl. Like, we would have never seen this coming. We would never have thought she would have done something like this, right? I want you guys to see that contrast, because you don't go from, oh my gosh, she's such, like, it's too much of a contrast. Does that make sense? Like, especially to do such a heinous crime like that. And again, I think what the media is not putting out there, and y'all have to question this. The parents have a drug habit and have a past of being locked up, and not just in jail, in prison for that drug habit. Why is that not spoken of? Why have they wiped the internet of their background? You have to actually really dig through records to find their arrest records. Why are they hiding that from the public? Why is that so? That gives so much more context. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's if if she's so guilty, they'd lay all the cards out on the table. There would be no reason to hide that. Does that make sense? Like, if there's so much evidence, you would not hide. And the reason why they're hiding their past is because it gives context to why this happened, like how this could have happened. They it exactly, but they can't share the evidence. That is exactly that's what the optics for me. Okay, I'm gonna block you because you're gross. The optics are very I, I don't know, they're very odd. And then also there was a Facebook post. I'm gonna go back over this. You know what? I'm gonna do a whole video on this just for y'all. Um, so there's also a Facebook post that her mother posted about the stepdad putting his hands on her, and I think pulling out a pew pew. I gotta look back at the screenshot, and that she was in fear for her life. Why? That's why I say there's a lot that the media is not saying to people because they're so busy trying to coerce the public that she is guilty. And if you have to coerce the public to thinking that she's guilty, that's cause for concern. Because it's like they're messing with the public psyche. Why? And that's why I'm concerned about her having a public defender because look, this is no shade. I'm just being real. A lot of times public defenders, they're not the best paid, and if you're really good at what you do, you would not be a public defender. Now there are people that start off there and they're good and they build their career, but 9 times out of 10 public defenders, they get paid the very lowest in law, and they're just there to collect their paycheck. Right? And so my concern is her being able to target the optics and the and their caseloads are high, yeah. Um, and fight for her innocence because it's also you have to deprogram the people on the jury and point out the the way the media has portrayed her and like get people to understand like look, they keep saying she's guilty, but they've produced nothing. So are we just believing it because people are saying, well, they wouldn't arrest her if she was innocent? My brother was arrested on a kidnapping charge for a girlfriend that he broke up with. Because he broke up with her, she said he kidnapped her. And the only reason why he was able to prove that that was a lie was because I found a fashion show that she was on YouTube the same day she said she was kidnapped.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Jill, can you mind your business? You know, like that, and that is the tough part is to how do you get a fair trial if the media has already been so busy coercing the public that you're guilty. You know, like it that That's my concern with a public defender. I'm very concerned about that part. Um, I tried to stress to her family that she needed an attorney. And I think that we have different perceptions because again, I saw what my brother experienced. And as a black woman, I know that you can't just trust the cops because they said it, or you can't just trust the police or the investigators just because they said it. You need to see proof. You can't just say, well, they said it, I'm going to believe it. No, if they don't present proof, then what are we really, relax, baby, what are we really following on? Like, and I think that they feel like, well, she's innocent, she'll be fine. And it's not that easy because I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know how many people really know this, but you're say I'm on trial for a murder charge and you're on trial for a murder charge. You have a public defender. I paid my attorney $50,000 to defend me. You're innocent. I'm guilty. My attorney goes into the judge's chambers. They all have their little powwow. My attorney gives the judge 10,000 out of what he made. Same with the DA or the prosecutor. And that's it. It happens all the time. You give us him, we'll let you keep her. It happens all the time. People don't understand that because people see it as the justice system is just that, the justice system, and it's not that. It's who paints the best picture and who has the most money. That's what it is, period. Dot the end. And I don't feel like they truly understood where I was coming from when I said it because it sounds conspiracy theorist ish, right? But unless you've seen it, it, it no one would think like the justice system would operate like that, but it does. It really does. I don't think Gypsy is connected. I think it was just the optics around her case. I really think that it was just that. No, the justice system is a huge joke. There's a lot of people sitting in prison for crimes that they didn't commit. There was no proof, but they were able to coerce. They were able to. It's just so. It's so much that I don't care if you would have to sell your entire house. You If you're on trial for any major charge like that, you need a attorney because then you're just leaving it up to fate. You know, we it you just and it's for her to be 17 years old. This is also something that I want you guys to think about. If she was really guilty, she would have caved on a plea deal at this point. If they had mountains of evidence, she would have caved on a plea deal. Especially at her age, why wouldn't she cave on a plea deal? I honestly feel like they need to gut out the entire justice system and rebuild it. Like there's two, and I'm talking about from top to bottom. I'm talking about from the government on down. Like it needs to be gutted out, totally revamped, totally redone. Like there, because we can't say at face value we're about justice, but behind the scenes we're not. Do you know? Like it just needs to be totally. I do think slowly that's happening now, and it seems like nothing's happening. I do believe that. Um, I don't. I don't. think that, but it's going to be a long process, especially with the justice system. Happy New Year to you too. It's gonna be a long process because there's a lot of people. The problem is the media has so much impact on how people think and how they perceive things. And if you're not someone that tries to read between the lines, it's very hard. And it's not, most people don't, they're not programmed to like pay attention to like little details because there's so much going on in life that most people don't have the time
Mom,
or the
it's
thought process to do
night
that.
time. I have to
Okay,
eat.
go get there it is. Gio, you eat the night candy and you don't even go to sleep, so I don't even understand the point.
And then that.
Okay, give it to me.
Where should I put it up?
Gio, you are such a hot mess.
Now I know.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like I just think the justice system really does need to be revamped. Like everything needs to be gutted out, redone, and like the I don't think that the media should have. I don't think the government should have any impact on the media at all whatsoever. I think the entities need to be totally separate, and they should be non-biased, and just giving the facts. And however the facts appear is like if you're just giving the facts, you're letting people draw their own conclusion versus you coercing them.
Guys, my night candy look like
You know what I'm
this.
saying? I do think that trial will be televised. You too, Mary.
Are you talking to Mary?
No, Gio, can you chill out? I just I think a lot of things do need to change. I just don't know how fast I think it'll happen. And I think with the media trying to, because even think about even politics with the way the media goes. Like it's never non-biased. It's always like a, like if you just give the facts, then you allow people to draw their own conclusion. And sometimes you need to point out the facts that people don't see, right? Because if you point those facts out, you give other people the option to decide what they really think. Does that make sense? Like, because if you lay everything out, it's like, oh, okay, I never really thought about it like that, because it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like it just needs to be, things need to be different, especially in the judicial system. It needs to totally be different. I think even like when you look at Gypsy's case and Nick, I don't think that the DA should have been able 2 days before to be on that documentary. Like, if that is not a bias, like there's too many things that happen that shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't be allowed to. And they knew that they could do it because he had a public defender. You know what I'm saying? Because like if he had a paid attorney, none of this would have happened. First of all, they would have questioned the jury pool. They didn't question the jury pool, so they kind of just put, you know, nobody knows who's who or who had watched whatever. They didn't question the jury pool. There was a lot of evidence that they didn't allow his attorneys to his public defender to bring into court. The public defender didn't push back because essentially he works for the state, and well, if you push back too much on a case that they want the person to be guilty, they decide your future, so you can't do too much. You know what I'm like? Nick's case is not an isolated case. That's more the norm than not, and that's just me being honest. Now, David's case, they can have a lot of evidence, and he could still get off. And the reason why I say that is unless they have something rock solid. If there's any doubt, the thing was he wasn't in town when the body was found. He had been traveling. There's going to be a lot of questions with that I feel like if you have a really good attorney, he could get off. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. If he even gets indicted, because who knows if his attorneys are having conversations right now to even keep that from happening, or him being out on a because why have they taken so long? But you know what? I will say that I also think that uh, Jean Benet Ramsey. Okay, I'll do that. Z. I think Jean Benet Ramsey is another one where I think that there might have been some affiliation with the Epstein files, and there's just something very like it, there's just too there's just too many things with that case because even the way the mom the ransom letter, like it's just so much about that seems off to me. I actually do believe that Ghislaine theory, especially the more and more that has came out about what has happened on those files, allegedly, I do believe it. The saddest part about it is that if this is if this is what has been released, could you only imagine what they haven't released? Like, that's a serious question. Could you even fathom what hasn't been released? Like, really think about that. It's actually very scary to think that so many children. Okay, I will see. There's so many children involved in a lot of these things, and that people have literally turned a blind eye to it. You know what, Sam? There's a lot. So I don't know if y'all have heard this, but I heard. And look, again, I don't know this 100%. Yes, I believe so. But I heard Ghislaine Maxwell was worse than Epstein. Let that sink in. And this woman knew exactly what was taking place, and she wanted to marry that man. Let that sink in. Like when you let that sink in, that will make you really pause. Like the amount of it's just a messed up situation. Amount of kids that were involved in that are adults now and probably like because you I think what people fail to realize with predators is that they don't get a lot of time generally, but they mess up someone's life for the rest of their life. Like they have trust issues. They are, you know, a lot of times they blame themselves. Um, like they never really like they lose a part of their childhood, so they are. It's a lot, and it's just really messed up. I do think brother. I do think that. I think the whole pineapple situation had a lot to do with it, but I think behind the scenes there were other things going on. Yeah, like you child predators mess that person's life up for the rest of their life. Like period, not the end. And it's sad to me that people will let predators out and not think twice about it when I think that they should I don't think you should be registered. I think there should be a place, a facility for those types of people that they need to be there forever. Period. I don't think that they should ever be released out into the general public because they just find a better way to cover it up and a better way to silence the victims. That's all. They don't that is something that people do not change. If you're a predator, you're a predator. And that's why I say Gypsy would do that to her daughter too. I
Mom.
don't even think house arrest. Lock them up somewhere because they could be in house arrest and coerce little kids to come to their house. Especially like young girls, like 12 and 13 and stuff like that. I actually saw this like this morning. It must have been like 2 o'clock in the morning. There was a girl that said when she was 13 years old, she got kidnapped. And she was telling the story that she was using Snapchat and she started talking to this boy. She thought he was her age. And they said they were going to meet up at the mall. She went to go meet up with him. And he said, my dad is going to come and get you because I broke my leg. A grown ass man came and said that he went to go use the bathroom when they got to the car. She said she started to feel like something was off, but she didn't really know how to get herself out of the situation. So she said she needed to go use the bathroom. So this was by the mall, so she went into the bathroom right by J.C. Penney's. But it was one side of the bathroom entered the salon, and the other side entered the mall. And she said that she was in the bathroom and she was calling her mom. Her mom didn't answer the phone. She ended up calling the police, telling the police where she was at. While she was doing that, he started banging on the bathroom door, asking if she was okay. And then when she didn't respond, he came into the bathroom and started knocking on the stall. And he broke the like hinge part off of the stall and was dragging her out and saying that she was his daughter and she was being unruly. And she was like, "This is not my dad." She said, "This is not my dad." She started screaming, and two guys tackled him down, and one of the stylists grabbed her. That's how easy something can happen. Because at 13 years old, you don't realize how you don't know what you don't know. Like you think your parents don't want you to have fun, but you don't realize like no, it's real danger out here. And like think about how quick that could have went left. Like if she didn't scream and I did dumb stuff when I was 17, 18. So 12, 13. In fact, I would even go as far to say that I did everything in my power to get kidnapped by mistake and didn't even realize it. When they say God be looking out for babies and dummies, yes, that is so true. Because somebody had to be looking out for me. Because what I was doing, I was out here living life dangerously. On AOL chat, like 13, 14, in the chat rooms, talking about age, location, and sex. Like, don't even get me started. I could have easily popped up missing. And I had more reasons to pop up missing than not. Okay. It was like I was walking into a trap that I set up for my damn self. And if you think about it, that was the start of the internet. Like, really just think that was the start of the internet. The internet's way more advanced now. Even to the point that, like, you even have to turn off your kids' locations on their phones. Like, there's so many things, like these apps and stuff, that you really have to. I have it where my daughter can't even download an app without my approval. Like, on her iPad or her phone. Like, she can't download anything unless it comes, like, they ask me if I approve of it. You know what, Z? I think that's really good. And my daughter has a tech class where they teach them safety on the internet. I think that is so amazing. Like, her whole first period class is all about how to be safe on the internet, how to make sure that you're not like. I cannot begin to say how important I think that is, because I think that when dial up first came out, if I would have had that, maybe I wouldn't have done things so reckless. But it's crazy how much danger there is out there. Yeah, it's scary. Like, me, even as a, like, there's times that I think that I'm overprotective to an extent, but then I'm also like, I think it's very hard in this day and age to raise little girls for several reasons, but I think it's very hard because you want them to be confident in the skin that they're in. You want you don't want to teach them that based on what they're wearing, someone can assault them just because you you don't want to teach them that it's them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to be who you want to be, dress how you want to dress, and still be safe, right? But then you also don't want them to overdo anything. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's hard because of stuff like that, and you also want them to be safe at the same time. Because my daughter does cheer, and they wear, like, their sports bras and their little shorts and stuff. And she's a brand ambassador for a company, and they want you to post. And, like, there was one day I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't, like, it's like, yeah, it has all this razzle dazzle on it, but then I started, one question myself, and then I said to myself, like, well, no, she's a kid, like, it's fine, it's not like she's over here doing anything crazy. But we were raised like that, so it's just, I feel like it's such a fine line, and you want them to be confident in who they are and embrace themselves and stuff like that. It's just it's so tough nowadays because it's just a weird world we live in. It's just so weird. It's such a weird world. It's crazy because when you think about it, when we were younger, I don't think we realized how crazy of a place it was. And there's not more predators out here now than there was before. It's just more publicized because there's social media. There's all this stuff going on. Um, so there was something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. Damn, it just slipped my mind. What was it? There was something I wanted to say to you guys. Oh, all right, y'all. So let's talk about TikTok. You know, TikTok is being sold. The deal is supposed to be finalized on the 22nd of this month. But there is a lot that I think they're not saying. I'm just going to give you guys a prediction. Tell me what you think. I think TikTok has a backup app, which is why they were trying to make sure that a lot of creators were on Lemonade as well. And they're going to switch Lemonade into the new TikTok, but that's going to be later. They let these billionaires buy this TikTok. This is going to go down like Twitter because now it's going to be politically motivated. And I think that TikTok and ByteDance have their own agenda. Basically, I think in a couple of months you're going to see TikTok with a trench coat pop up. I'm like, don't get the messenger. I'm just saying, I think these people, Asian people, are very smart people. And they didn't build a platform to not have a backup plan. That's all I'm going to say. I think that they built Lemonade and that's why it's like it's not really growing. I think that was the intent, is to kind of keep it on the low. And then boom, it's going to show up with a trench coat in a couple of months. Don't get the messenger when it happens. Don't say I didn't say it. I just look at it from a business standpoint, and there's no way that you could tell me that they had no backup plan. Does that make sense? There is absolutely no way you could tell me that. Like, there's no way you could tell me that he built this company from the ground up. Nah, it TikTok is gonna show up with a trench coat in a couple of months. They're gonna take a couple of months because they want it to be like, oh, there's nothing to see over here. This isn't the same thing. Like, there's a plan. But what I don't understand is why these billionaires would buy TikTok and change it to a US algorithm and think people were going to stay on it when they know that they're going to change it to an app that's going to be politically motivated. Because I don't care what political side of the fence you're on, nobody wants to be on an app that has politics at the center of it, because that's already biased. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they keep notifying you about creators using Lemonade. Yeah, I'm telling you, that is TikTok in a trench coat. Like, I'm letting you know that right now. Don't say I didn't say it. That is literally TikTok with a trench coat on. Like, I think it's so funny because I don't understand how these billionaires spent billions on TikTok to change the algorithm to a US based algorithm, knowing that they're going to have it politically motivated and think that they're going to make their money back. Thank you. I it almost makes me laugh. Like, they can't be that dumb. You spent billions on this company. Yeah, no, this you're gonna take a L on this. Like, they are gonna take a L. Like, I think TikTok is gonna be the, like, sort of like Twitter, where it kind of died out. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I think a lot of creators will probably stay around for a while, a little bit. And when I say stay around, I think they'll be cross posting like they are now. But I don't think long term. Thank you. I don't like TikTok battles. Just me personally. I don't like being on an app and having to rely on gifts. Um, because then I feel like your viewers feel like in order to watch you and enjoy your content, they have to be paying. And I think that's okay when if they have it, but then they also don't want to be sitting in a live and then watching a creator that they like battling and not see them win. Does I feel like that's a power struggle. I've never seen the guy that keeps. Oh, you're talking about the guy with short black hair. He looks like Latino or something. But here's the thing. Let's be. If we're gonna be real, at this point, Ryan's only doing lives because he's grifting. Does that make sense? Like because he's not working. So I think that he probably is inching his way to something and probably communicate. But see, the thing about Ryan is he's not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize Gypsy. I agree with that. I agree with that. I feel like Ryan's not really transparent, but he's a people pleaser, and so it makes it very weird. And anytime people are people pleasers, people are able to read that and take advantage of it. Well, yeah, especially because Ryan still defends Gypsy after everything she's done. The perception that I have of Ryan is very different from what it was before, especially after those emails came out. I wanted to not feel like that, but I can't help it at this point. What do I think that the people in Gypsy's lives have in common? Uh, I hate to say this, but I think that they have a cognitive delay, and because that's the only way you could, or they're rug users. Because it seems like everyone that is in her life or has been in her life at some period have has used drugs, and that could be what makes them kind of impaired or have a cognitive delay. And she preys on insecure people, but that's people like her. So, but the thing is, Gypsy moves in masculine energy, and I think that's where a lot of people also get her confused. Is because Gypsy is very, very, very masculine. Most women are not that masculine, right? Ken is very feminine, which is why you see that struggle there, because it's not what it's supposed to like. It's it's not social norms the way they operate. People don't see Gypsy as moving in masculine energy because she's so tiny, and so they don't correlate that to being masculine. But her behavior is very masculine, and having that type of masculine behavior on top of narcissism and being a sociopath or a psychopath is such a hard concept. But because she's small and has this high pitched voice, people don't correlate it mentally, subconsciously to that. So that's why people still see her as the abuse victim because she doesn't fit what you would think a person that moves in masculine energy would fit. And that's why I say, like, even when it comes to like being in trial or court or anything like that, it's all about the perception. So those are things that I feel like Nicholas Godeshawn's attorneys would have needed to point out. Okay, look, she moves in this masculine energy. Okay, so that would kind of already start to change the gears in people's heads to where they start seeing, like, even if they didn't at that time when you say that, they don't believe that, but as the trial went on and they saw the things that she did, you pointed that out, so they're going to start picking up on those things. If that makes sense. Like, so if you point it out, they may not believe what you're saying, but then as the time goes on, they'll see what you're saying because those habits present themselves over and over again, just like it did with Gypsy. So I think that's part of it, is that she doesn't look like what you think a sociopath or a psychopath and a narcissist move like would look like. Like because it's a mental thing, right? Most people think they're gonna appear crazy. They're going to have a different stature because like that's most of the time. If I'm telling you a story, in your mind you're picturing these people already. You've built what these people look like, right? And then you'll see it and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought. Yeah, because just based off of what I was telling you, you already assumed stuff. And I think because Gypsy presents petite with a squeaky voice and she looks young, and so people didn't really see it for what it was. So there was so many things working against Nicholas Godeshawn. And you have to think even to like those videos where he wasn't shaving, he didn't cut his hair down, so he looked like he wasn't groomed. So the perception of like, oh, he looked like the monster more than she did because that's how he visibly looked. So it's all about the psyche. Like there's so much perception is all about your perception from where you're standing, and that's why this. I think even that's why people now still don't believe it. Gypsy is small in stature. She comes on with this very soft spoken voice. And so people are like, no, she was an abuse victim. You guys don't do that to her. Not realizing, like, no, this girl's a whole monster. Like, this girl literally tattooed where the autopsy showed her mama got stabbed. Like, that's who you dealing with. So I think everything is about perception because most people don't really just look at the facts. They look at everything else around it. Like a lot of times you need to like cut the fat out of it and just look at the facts because normally that will tell the story. Nick deserves so much better. Nick deserves so much better. Yeah, people and see the thing is it's unfortunate because they really expect people to ride on emotion, which is why a lot of things even with this Sarah Grace Patrick case. Think about this. The first thing that they bring up is that, oh, her videos look suspicious because she was overly emotional. So that would be triggering to someone that they'd be like, well, dang, if she killed her mom and she's overly emotional, she's manipulative, she's a terrible person. So they've already tricked somebody into thinking that the girl's suspicious and then she's already a bad person. So in their mind, they already don't like the lady. They don't like it's just a people in the media understand that, so they know how to use that to their advantage. And that's the unfortunate part because most people take things for face value and they don't see that extra stuff because they don't even realize how someone's trying to program them. And it's really important because I think especially with now the way media has been, like we have to be very vigilant in making sure that we deconstruct what they're trying to construct. Right, 100 surgeries. Like the fact that people even still believe that, like there's still a lot of people that still believe she was abused. Like it's so crazy because it's like, okay, if this girl was abused, why did she have so many wigs? Why was this girl doing so many videos? Like, wouldn't her mother whoop her ass for doing all those videos? Like Gypsy was out here being a whole hot pocket in those videos. And if we're gonna be real, I think Dee Dee did know she was doing all that stuff on the internet, but she felt like Gypsy was safer at home doing that on the internet than being out in public doing that. See, I actually have a meeting with a manager to help me kind of come up with a plan for my channel, but I also think podcast wise, okay, so I'll kind of tell you what Ivory and I have been speaking about. We just have to figure out how to go about doing it. So Ivory said that one day she called me and she was like, I think you have a lot of really good insight on situations and people. You're able to kind of like break things down to where it makes sense, and you already know what's like going on ahead of time. Because there's a lot of times she said that I've said stuff to her and I've said, no, this is why they did this X, Y, and Z, and then like it plays out and she sees that's why they did it. So what she was thinking is she was like, maybe we should do a podcast where like people will like submit emails about like their situation, and like we break it down together, um and give our thoughts. And so that is kind of like, but it would be something where it would just be a podcast where we weren't on screen. So even if we were driving or something like that, uh you know we don't have to be picture perfect or like ready and stuff. Like they'll just call it and then we'll have it on all streaming apps. So that's along the lines of what we were talking about doing in the new year, um, which I think will be, yeah, kind of like an advice kind of show. Um, and it's so funny because something happened with Ivory recently, and I'm not going to tell her business, but uh, she's like, how did you know that? And I was like, well, I was just really following like the pattern of their behavior and like the things that they said, like certain things, like if you say one thing, like it has to line up with what you're saying. Like, and if it's not, if what you do is not lining up with that, that means you're saying something else that I'm not seeing. And she was like, oh, I didn't really think about it like that. I was like, yeah, you don't say one thing and then like it just doesn't make sense. And she had called me the next day and she was like, you were right. I was like, I just knew because it didn't make any sense. Like, I'm listening to you say it and it just doesn't make sense. Oh, hey, Pickle. But yeah, but I'm going to get off here because my nose is stuffy. And I'm going to take a shower and stuff because Gio's already asleep. He's passed out. I'll show you guys. Yeah, Ivory just has, some personal things going on right now. But so she's been really busy. And the holidays, she has her kids and her grandkids. So things have been really, really busy for her. But yeah, we had already spoke about some things that we had in the works. But I do think I'm going to do more long form content on here. I just need to set the time aside. Like maybe like a 25 to 30-minute video on like different cases or whatever. I'll figure that all out, but I'll keep you guys posted. But if I do it, I need y'all to get on there and support the videos because sometimes when like I'll do video, the thing about YouTube and the algorithm is that if you're newly speaking about something, their algorithm doesn't really push you out there. And so like it takes so much time to like edit the video and do all that stuff that if you do and it's not really like showing up, it's kind of like weird. So yeah. But I will definitely, and I might do it like as like get ready with me's, like do my makeup while I'm talking about a case. I think that might be a good idea. Maybe like 2 to 3 times a week. But I'll let you guys know and I will talk to you guys later. Bye for now. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being the best part of my channel this year. Bye.